Hello.
Jonah, how are you?
I am doing well. It's a rainy day over here, so just been enjoying being inside.
Uh-huh.
How about you?
Pretty good, thanks. Yeah. Shipped all the whatnot stuff and earlier and yesterday and I'm
Nice.
gonna start trying to get ready for the next show.
Yeah, I'm trying to find someone to take my spot tomorrow.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, are you doing one tomorrow? Part of
I
the
was
raid
going
train?
to. But it's part of the Paper Gold Raid train?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What time is it?
Mine is 1 p.m. PST.
Oh, I just remembered I was supposed to meet somebody about some books like 45 minutes away at 3, so
Mhm.
I
It's
probably
all
wouldn't be
good.
able to do that.
I'll keep trying.
Okay, thanks for asking though.
Yeah. Welcome in, everyone. Hello, hello. Let's pull up the chat. Get ready for the show. Let people come in. Hi, Dave. Hello, Aja. I'm still learning how to say your name. Aja, I think.
Hello.
Am I saying your name correctly?
Yes, I'll take everything except aha. I'll take Aja, Aja, I'll take whatever. Just I
Oh,
can't do aha.
I'm funny.
And it's
That's a cute
like
one, though.
I know, and it's like God's cruel joke that on the keyboard the H is right next to the J. So sometimes when I'm typing too fast, I literally type aha, and I'm like, oh gosh, okay.
Oh, but that's great. Hello, Tim. Thank you for joining. And Melissa and Dave and who else can I pick on? We'll give it a few minutes. I hope you guys have some questions and
hey,
some.
hey Zana,
Hi.
why does your thing down in the corner say Thomas Bojarski?
Thank you for letting me know because the Paper Gold account, I share his account. So let me change that. Thank you for pointing that out. I am Thomas.
I just was gonna say you don't look like a Thomas to me.
Do I look like a Jana? Hi, Karina.
Actually, yes,
Will
you
you
do.
target bookers in his nose? Like coming out of both nostrils and
Hi,
like
Angela and Karina.
Mhm. Our dog
Alrighty.
there. Huh? The dog. I love the dog. Pooping all
Hey,
over the
Karina,
place
we can hear
there.
your convos.
Yeah. Hi. Sorry for like in the
No, that's
park.
all good.
The dog. I'm talking to the heck is that? That's my. You hear? Oh, yeah.
So, guys, welcome to the ephemera call that we do once a month. I hope you guys are having a great week. We're gonna do an open forum again, which I love to do because it feels like we never have enough time to just talk, and talk. Michelle said in the comments, "Loving list easier, Dave. Thanks for telling us about it." Yeah, that really started a trend.
Well,
Dave is a trendsetter.
list easier. It's not something you can just put pictures in there and then leave it alone and let it go. You got to know what you're doing. So there is a learning curve. And I was actually going to talk a little bit about that because I was noticing on the ephemera section in Discord, there are a lot of people asking about prints.
Mhm.
And that's both easy and hard because
Agreed. Yeah.
AI's like List Easier that it cannot tell the difference between a steel engraving and a lithograph.
I
You
can't either.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. I was going to talk a little bit on here about how you can go um, online and go to like University of Chicago or the Metropolitan Museum of Art or something like that. And in a couple hours, you can learn the basics of how to tell the difference between the different types of engraving processes, including lithography. That
Mhm.
will go miles to help you list your items easier. Okay, because a lot of times the reason why they won't sell is because you don't know what you're doing.
Mhm.
If you say something is a steel engraving and it's not, what's going to happen? You're
Yeah,
going to get it back or whatever on that. So anyway, when there's more people in here and you're interested in knowing about it, I'll be happy to talk a little, for 5 minutes or something. I'll be happy to talk about that.
yeah. And then we can also do sometime a more in-depth presentation, maybe with like slideshows and stuff. But I would love to get the rundown of how to identify, and especially if you have examples. But yeah, that would be great, Dave. Aja?
Okay, before we start, I found this antique 1879 Harper's Weekly hand colored print, and I thought about you guys when I found it because I wanted to show you. Hopefully the glare isn't bad, but
Here, let me bring it up. Let me pin you. That's a large print.
yeah, it's from the newspaper
Oh,
out of Harper's Weekly, 1879, January 4th.
How do you know it's hand colored?
It says on the so these this was from an antique store. Like the lady dealed in all of these, and so each one has its own handwritten like deal on it. So I mean, that's what she has researched and written on here.
Okay, well, understand that if you that's Harper's Weekly, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay, Harper's Weekly almost never did hand colored prints. Those are all done after the fact. Now, maybe not too long after it was printed, but they're all done after the fact. They did not issue any that were hand colored at Harper's Weekly.
So
Okay.
I never put that in my description. Like when I list them, I don't ever put that information. I was just sharing it here just because I don't ever really know for sure.
Well, you can, it hand colored, telling them people that it's hand colored is important because that means that somebody spent hours, even a professional artist, it's going to take an hour or 2 hours to color a print like that and do it correctly. Okay. The best way to tell how good the artist was who did it was to take the print and to hold it up to the light, the back of the print, and see how much bleed through there is. Okay. The less bleed through there is, the better the artist was.
does
Okay.
that increase the value?
Well, it just, are you gonna pay a lot of money for an amateur hand colored print, or are you gonna pay good money for a professionally painted hand colored print? Okay, that's really the difference on
Do
there.
you know if there was some artists that were more well known
Oh my gosh,
for these
almost
types
all of
of
them did
prints?
that. Almost all of them did that. The
How would
inter
you know?
the interest, well, I've done a lot of studying on that. It's really interesting because a print like what you have there may not even have been done on one block. It may have been like 4 blocks, and there would have been 4 different artists that were assigned a corner or one of the squares, and it was their job to do that part of the engraving, and then they would tie them together and then print it.
Well,
Cool.
now I want to see.
Michelle is asking what websites would you recommend to learn about this stuff?
Well, Metropolitan Museum of Art has a pretty good thing. I think University of Chicago has a good art department. If you type in just in Google and type in how do you tell the difference between different types of engravings, and then follow the links, just make sure you don't go to YouTube to do this because
Okay.
they don't know anything. Very, very few of them do anyway. I mean, Bauman Books has a little section on how to tell some of your big dealers who've been around for 50 years. They
What books? Bomb?
Bauman, Bauman Books, I think they've got it, they're in New York and in Las Vegas.
Can you
How do
put
you
it in the
spell that?
chat, Dave?
I'm sorry.
Type it out in the chat.
Can you
Oh,
put it
yeah,
in the chat?
I can. I can. It's
Every single one of these categories, and it's like an infinite thing that you can zoom into, keep zooming in. You know, there's ephemera, and then there's prints, there's a different types of prints, there's a different artists, there's a different styles. You can just keep going in, and then all right, thank you for putting that in the
yeah.
chat.
Well, the
It's an
thing,
endless learning journey.
yeah, it is. And the thing is, if you don't know what it is you're doing, somebody is going to really not be happy with what you sell them. Okay,
Mm.
I'm trying to be nice about it, but if you don't know what you're doing, I guarantee you a lot of the buyers know exactly what they're doing now. There's a lot of buyers that just buy it because it's pretty. Well, you're talking about 20, 30, 40, $50 prints. I'm talking about prints like I've got some Gustav Bauman prints that are lithographs up, and they're like $200 a print. Okay. You have to know what you're doing to be able to describe that because there was so many reproductions. Chagall, some of the big guys like that, they did so many reproductions of those things that it pays to learn how to tell an actual lithograph from a photolithograph or from a I forgot what they call it, a reproduction where they printed via lithography, but it was all at one time. Most of your lithographs, color lithographs, use a minimum of 4 stones, your primary colors. Some of them will use as many as 8 stones. Okay. And they have to do it. I mean, this was a very expensive process because each one of those stones had a different color on it, and they had to be printed almost at the same time because that's how you got to get the beautiful blended colors in some of these things. Okay. So well, there's a lot to it, but you don't really need to know all that much detail about it. Just know the difference between a copper engraving, say, and a steel engraving. Steel engravings didn't even start till around 1820, 1825. So if you have a book or you have a print that's dated prior to that, you know that it's not going to be a steel engraving. Okay, because steel engraving wasn't around before then. Little things like that. Okay, I mean,
Cool. Thank
I
you.
just I've done this for 40 years, so I know a lot about it, and I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has. So,
Well, we certainly appreciate it. And I know you said no learning off of YouTube, but um, I just looked up a YouTube short of a lithography process, and I'm gonna see if I can show you guys real quick. I'm sure. Okay, so I'm gonna have to pause this. Can you hear it?
no.
Okay, good, because it's playing. So I'm gonna share my screen.
Now
Who?
I think
I did.
I think you
What?
misunderstood me a little bit.
What?
Um, I didn't say that YouTube wouldn't be a good place to watch how to do a certain type of engraving or lithography. I'm talking about there are a lot of videos out there that supposedly tell you how to tell the difference. And I've
Mhm.
watched a number of them, and they don't know what the heck they're doing on them.
Yes.
So just so you know.
Okay. Yeah, I don't I think it would be great to see real quick. So let's share. Can you see this screen of the YouTube channel?
Yes.
All right. So this one says recreating why is that song? Edvard Munch's lithography process. And of course it's not gonna load for me as soon as I want to share with people. I don't know why. Everybody shake a finger at it. All right, never mind. Never mind. That's not working. I'm gonna stop sharing. Yeah, my internet gets so funky when it rains, it just stops working. So never mind, we can look that up maybe later. But yeah, thanks, Dave. That's super helpful. What's this? Mike put here is the starter Bible, how to identify prints. Well, there you go.
I took a course. I have a very bad cold, so I'm going to talk as little as possible today, which is probably all your blessing.
No,
Um, but I took a class in appraisal studies that was hosted in New York. And this particular one was the Appraisal Association of America. And this was the starting reference book. If you are seriously want to learn about prints, start with this book. There's relatively inexpensive copies because it is the Bible. Everybody had a copy at one point.
cool.
But that would walk you through a huge range of issues and tips and helps. When we get to more specific kind of things, there's more specific things, but this, I can't encourage anybody, more strongly. If you want a basic understanding of what a print is, different types of print, how to identify them. There's even a second edition from 2004 now. I obviously clicked on the wrong button because I knew the edition I knew. But so anyway, I'm going to shut up.
No, don't shut up.
I'm going to shut up
This
because
is
I'm going
an
to
open
cough.
forum. Thank you for that. I'm looking at it right now on Amazon. It says buy new for $78. You can buy used for 15, so that's super affordable. I think I'm gonna get one.
There's some
And the new
$10
one.
ones in there too.
Yeah,
And the new edition is 40 for used plus $3.99 shipping.
nice. Yeah, I think it's a great idea to have these books laying around. I often find myself not knowing what to read or what to do with my spare time. And it'd be so nice to have a stack of books that's simply for learning how to sell better, how to identify things, yeah, business things, maybe. Things relating to books and ephemera and being a better business operator. So I'm gonna order that. Thank you.
Me too. Thank you.
Me too.
You should get a commission.
You should totally.
That's funny. Well, yeah, thank you guys for all that. That's great. So, has anybody sold anything lately that they would want to talk about or share? Any ephemera you've sold lately?
No, but I have a question for the group about a piece that I have because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with.
Yeah.
Um, I'll show a little bit of it. It's a railroad item.
Hold on. I'm gonna pin it. Can everyone see it zoomed in?
Can you read that?
Station agents correspondence for 1877. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Now it was, I didn't know at the time that they used carbon paper back in the 1870s, but they did. And this happens to be the book for the first year that Texas Round Rock Railroad Station, the full first year, actually about a year and 3 months or so of operation of the station from the very beginning on that. It's all the information every day. It even has what they were paid. The station agent made $125 a month. In 1876, that's a lot of
That's a
money.
lot.
Yeah. Okay. I even called Round Rock, and the so-called historian that I talked to didn't even know there was a train station there. And the train station is the reason why Round Rock exists. Okay, that's what started it. And it's for the International and Great Northern Railroad, which was absorbed into the Missouri Missouri Pacific,
Yeah.
I think, in 1997. And it was the first 50 years or so, it was strictly a Texas railroad. But anyway, this is 400 and about 440 pages here in this book of the correspondence. And then this book from 1881 and 1882, if you can share my, if you
Oh,
can
yeah.
pin me again.
Wow.
Wow.
That's all the, um,
That's a different book or the same
a
one?
different book.
Oh my goodness.
I've got 8 of these.
What are you going to do with them?
Well, see, I'm not sure. I mean, nobody has these kind of things. They're not out there. You know, I've seen some people that have some, like that last book I showed you, they have pages from a similar item from like the 1920s. They're selling 5 or 6 pages at a time, for like $30. Okay. But
5 or 6 pages? They're
yeah, just,
ripping it apart.
yeah, they take it apart and sell 5 or 6 pages of it.
You've
Okay.
got you've got at least two major hot buttons right there. Texana, railroad people.
Right. Right.
And you've got a run with five. You said you have 8 of them.
Well,
8.
and I have the very first year of an operation of the
Oh,
thing.
nice.
What I
Which
would
is
say is you literally have something that's looking for a high-end auction.
right. Yes. I
I
kind
mean,
of think
so
so too.
I'd be looking. I don't know the Texas auction houses, but I would definitely be looking at people like Heritage and running it by them and
Yeah,
seeing what
Heritage
kind of.
is in Texas.
Well, then for sure they would jump the hell on it. But
Dave, have you sold anything to an auction house?
Just the thing that I sent to Max, I sent an autographed what was it? Charles Dickens letter. Yeah.
So, so
But
is there anything stopping you from reaching out to these auction houses to see?
just advice. I mean, I'm not sure if that's the way to go or
I
not.
know Mike has a lot of experience with auction houses.
And that's why I'm asking, because it sounds like that may be
Yeah.
the way to go on these.
and
Hmm.
the nice thing is you can the way that it's all electronic anymore, you can run this by 2 or 3 different houses
Oh, sure.
and get their feedback, get their percentages, and get a sense of who you're more comfortable with, who gets more. Um, the nice thing about auction houses, if you deal with them, is you go with the one who's where the when they're most excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because honest to God, if they're most excited, they push things.
Right.
I've had excitement on some really oddball things over the years, and it just jaw dropping. Um,
Well,
but
this is
but
the kind of this is the
but
kind
that
of
but
item.
but you can't sell that on your own. Describe it and find the client base in a short amount of time, the same way a major auction
That's
house
kind of what I'm
that
thinking.
that's their
Yeah.
niche, and it's worth giving up your point, a few points to them. Well, not a few points, but a reasonable number of points, and let them actually make the sale
Sure.
because they're going to get a much better result than you will because you're just, you're rolling dice otherwise for something that high end,
Sure. Well, there's just
and
not
that's
very
high
many.
end.
Yeah, there are not very many clean or complete books like this out there. They're one of a kind, whatever they are. And I just was reading an article from about a month ago where they were in somewhere in London or just outside of London. They were refurbishing a train station that they were going to make into a museum. And they were tearing down a wall and they found one of these. And now it's going to be a centerpiece in a glass case for people just to look at to see when they go through the museum. And it was like from the 1920s. And most of mine are all pre 1900.
No, but that's my 2 cents on this one for sure. Auction house for sure. It's going to be a centerpiece in any auction they do. I have that same gut you do about this one.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
AJ, what did you just put in the chat?
These are auction houses that are local or in the vicinity of Round Rock. So Vote Auction Houses and then the Austin Auction Gallery House. It's in Austin. Round Rock is just north of Austin down here.
Well, I have a good feeling about that,
Yeah,
Gabe.
that's correct. The railroad didn't come to Round Rock until 1876, which is where mine starts. My book starts. And
Wow.
the town was actually a half a mile away from the train station. As soon as they built the train station, they moved the whole town to be right around the train station because that was the hub of activity is around the train station. And so, it seems like I looked at your that link, Asia, and are these auctions look like they're a little bit of what is the oh, okay. Well, maybe it'd be worth looking at because it's a lot of Texas and a lot of train history, so might be worth getting a hold of them. Thank you.
I love the power of this group. That's so cool. I can see a historical society going crazy over that. Just
Or
the
train.
data that it provides. It's like, look at what they do for our data now. They pay so much and they go to such great lengths to get the data on our lives. And that's the data of the lives of people in 1870 something.
Well, a lot of this information they don't even have anymore.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
that's why it's so valuable.
yeah, the guy who is a station agent, when you look him up, you find out that he worked somewhere in Austin for the train company. It doesn't mention, around 1900. Doesn't mention anything about him being a station agent, and he was the very first station agent of that station house.
Mm.
So, I mean, they have no idea when it started operation or anything. And I have my first entries August, I think 21st, 1876, So that's probably when they started operation on the railroad station, So
Cool.
interesting.
Very interesting. I've had some stuff I've sold in the past that informed me. So it was like a mistake that I made selling this. I totally undervalued a diary from 1870 something. And it came in kind of a lot of other family ephemera. And so I kind of thought it was a complete thing. I put the diary up for about $100, and this was early in my time. I definitely would have put it up for way more now. But what I failed to do is research the the town because apparently there was a sister diary, literally a diary that belonged to the sister of the person from this diary. So they both had the same diary. I had one sister's diary, and when I had sold it, I went looking for the one that I sold to see if I can see what's up with it now. I ended up finding the sister diary and it was sold at auction for over $1,000 because of the specific town had very little written history recorded. And so they use this as a historical artifact. And so I sold mine for 100, but the sister one sold for 1,000. And that's my mistake, but it's okay. It's a learning.
I was going to say, that's how you learn.
That's how I learned. And yeah, I found it super, super fascinating. So
So would you consider a manuscript, a typed manuscript to be ephemera?
yes, I would. Yeah. Especially if it's not meant to be lasting forever. If it's a correspondence,
Well,
someone that,
I have no idea on this.
yeah, I would definitely consider it to be ephemera. Um,
I have a
I,
question on pricing. Like what you
yeah.
just said. I find that when I'm in the process of listing something, whether it's a books or ephemera, I get jiggy when I feel like it's supposed to be higher. You know what I mean? Like probably could have sold something for like 500, 600 bucks and I'd sold it for two very quickly, but I don't know why I have this feeling about when it gets over like the $500 mark. So how do you know for sure? I know you research and the comps and all that stuff, but how do you get confident and comfortable around the numbers that you're placing on these items? Especially when there a lot of the ephemeras are one of a kind, you know?
Well,
I think,
like
yeah, go
this.
ahead, babe. Hold on, let me spotlight. Okay, that's a typed letter.
No, it's a typed manuscript. This whole thing is a manuscript about the um 35th Division, Infantry Division, World War One.
Okay,
But I have no
um,
idea if the book was ever printed or not.
I see. Okay, hold on. Let's talk about two things. Age asked the
Put
question,
the
and
name
then
of the author and the title that you have on that manuscript in the chat. I can go look at my World War One references and tell you.
Well, I got to find out who the author and the title is. I'm not sure that I have the cover page for this.
yeah, that would be worth it to find out, Dave. Definitely. Put it in the chat when you do. Aja, I I think like for someone like Dave, he's been doing this 40 years, and Mike probably as well has been doing it just as long. I think after a while you start to learn. Would you say that you're new at understanding ephemera? Yes. How long have you been playing in the world of selling ephemera or learning about it?
Just a couple years, really. And at first as a like just collecting things that I liked, right?
Mhm.
And then getting into the selling and researching and accumulating and that kind of stuff. So just a couple years.
Yeah, I think as the years go on, you really start to see patterns in what people are looking for. And if you care to go down a niche topic, that might really help too. But I honestly don't know if you can spend hours researching one piece of ephemera, but it might not be worth it. You know, your time is money. And so I get what your problem is. You know, do you spend hours researching everything, or is there some kind of hack?
Right.
I don't know if there's a hack. I don't know. My thing is I go for the older items. It doesn't always end up being more valuable, but I just feel like there's a lot more of a chance to find a hidden gem the older the item is. Yeah, you kind of just have to, I guess, maybe have a good memory and remember names and remember faces. I don't know. I always wonder how some people, I always wonder some of these cabinet cards that I have and what if it's a really famous person and I'll just never know? Because how can I possibly know if this is a I always joke that this looks like Billy the Kid, is that his name? The shooter. But yeah, if anyone else has a good answer for pricing. Mike, how have you learned to identify ephemera and what's valuable?
The hard way.
Trial and
Um,
error.
well, you basically are looking for similar comps since you rarely are going to find the same. Um, and again, it depends upon the marketplace you're in, and a lot of it's gut. Um, the more you handle ephemera, the more you'll start winnowing out the genuinely unusual from the mundane. Um, and again, the mundane can sometimes get great prices because somebody in the family owned that hardware store 140 years ago, and in and of itself, it will sell it for something far more than it would otherwise go. I mean, I sell books to descendants of the authors. So it shouldn't surprise you. The more obscure the piece of ephemera is, whether it's a postcard of an enterprise, if it's a, 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 a trade invoice with the wonderful printing from the 19th century. Um, I once did an appraisal for a gentleman who had acquired a building, and on the third floor, he realized there was a hollow wall behind the one space, and they knocked their way through it and discovered all the uh, business records of an 1830s through 1870s small dealer of stuff, and he just had in tens of thousands of those wonderful printed invoices, and I was able to write him a wonderful appraisal that he used for tax deduction purposes when he gave it to the historical society.
Mhm.
But again, the more you handle a specific kind of item, the more it's going to make sense to you. I this it's so hard to pull an actual rule out for to guide you. The other thing is, if you start getting into a specific niche, buy the obscure um, reference book on it. I have ones I've never used, but they're on you know uh, different kinds of bank receipts, different kinds of uh, certificates of achievement in school, different kind of mass cards. All of those are ephemera. But if you fall into any one of those areas and you say, gee, I really like what I'm handling here, then that will help you to, focus and narrow what it is about them that may be of interest to the collector who actually still collects them. I hope that's helpful. I mean, but I don't have a great answer to how do you price it, other than part of the time I make it up, and part of the time I sort of have a sense of what other ones have done in the market.
Well, I can tell you this, you don't start too low. If you think of a price, you think it's worth 25 bucks, double it minimum, or more. You can always go down. You can't go up, unless you end the item and relist it. And then people who may be interested in it, they're going to remember that you had it at 30 bucks and going to ask you, well, why do you have it at $100 now? So Mike's completely right on that. Okay. Pricing, don't make a big deal about pricing, because you will learn as you go. You'll know that if you take this print, say, for example, and you put it up for $40 and it sells in a week, the next time you have a similar or the same print, you can try it at $60. And if it still sells fast, then sell it to me next time, because it's probably worth a lot of money. But you see what I'm saying? Um, don't be afraid to sell something too cheap, as long as you are learning about what you're doing. Why did it sell? And these buyers, somebody who buys that from you, if you ask them why they paid for that, they'll tell you. Usually, they'll let you know. Well, a lot of times it's because their second cousin's mom was the artist or something. Well, that tells you that next time you're probably not going to get $40 for that same print, because she might be the only one out there looking for it.
Although make sure you get that person's name, because you are amazed at the number of her cousins who will say, where do you get it? And can you get another
Absolutely.
one? Because I
Absolutely.
have a couple of local genealogy genealogic records, that it works that way. They
Absolutely.
Especially with the DNA testing websites that connect ancestry. People are probably linking themselves to all kinds of ancestors. That's another thing, with these pieces of ephemera. Do you put the name on the document? If there's a document and there's a name, do you put the name? I typically don't.
Why not?
I use the character space for other things and time.
Yeah, but the name's what's going to draw a lot of. You mean like the photograph, like these old photographs that you have. If it has a name on the back of it or the name of the photographer, you got to put that in there.
So I have it in the past, and what I've learned from experience is that people want to know.
Exactly.
And what surprised me was the photographer. And that's another one of these niche things. It's just feels like it's impossible to remember notable photographers. I don't know why I picked a very specific photograph to research. It was a cabinet card. I think the subject was really interesting and I wanted to know more about her. I looked at the photographer and it turns out this was a famous photographer that photographed a lot of the, like, what was it? Just more prominent people, maybe royalty even. I don't know. But yeah, it was a well-known, sought-after photographer. So
Well, you can just
you can put that in the description. But the thing is, with my ephemera, typically, if it's just kind of a basic thing, I don't go ahead and kind of put in those extra details. But if we're using something like List Easier, do you think it would pick up on that kind of stuff?
if it's written on the photograph somehow or printed on the photograph, it will absolutely pick it up.
Really? So
If
what about
not,
this, for example?
absolutely, absolutely.
It's not like,
Absolutely. It's fuzzy, but I know that there's the photographer and
yeah,
stuff printed down there. It'll absolutely pick that up. Is there any name or anything on the back of that?
nothing on the back, but the photographer and the location, it's not printed. It's kind of like
Written, typed in or
stamped. What?
yeah, it'll pick that up. It'll pick it
Interesting.
up.
See,
Yeah.
now I'm incentivized to use List Easier for my ephemera.
Well, now the other thing is you want to remember that the size of that photograph, List Easier is not going to pick up what the size is. So
Yeah.
that's why I have a stack of 3x5 cards.
Hmm.
And if I want List Easier to pick up and put in the description the size of that photograph, I write down the size of it and I
Yeah.
take a picture of that with the other pictures because you can always remove that before you list it.
Also, one of my tricks for the size, instead of taking them size and putting it in the description, I get a ruler and I just take a picture of it next to the ruler. And then you don't have to put anything in the description. And List Easier would probably pick up the size as well.
Sometimes it'll make a mistake. That's
Mhm.
one of the reasons why I always write it down
Yeah.
on a card and take a picture of that. There's no mistaking, 3.5 by 6.
Hmm.
Whereas if you put it on a ruler, especially a ruler like what you just showed us, there are two different kinds of measurements. There's one on the top where you have the photograph, and there's one on the other side. And they're both different types of measurement. And List Easier and other AIs, they could pick up the other measurement and give you the wrong size on there. So just for my own security, when I'm listing with List Easier, anything that I think List Easier needs to know, whether it's a book or whether it's a CD or a piece of ephemera or whatever, that's why I have the 3x5 cards. They're cheap and it takes me 30 seconds to write down the information, make sure that List Easier will pick that up. And the wonderful thing is all of a sudden now you've got 2 or 3 paragraphs of description that would take you an hour to figure out that to write, and List Easier has done it in 10 seconds.
Michelle's
I
asking
threw
if
in,
you do it in batches with the same size so that you can just kind of put the card for
You
the
could do
next.
that,
Yeah.
but you need to take a picture of that card with each of those
Yeah.
Oh,
each of those photos.
you do have to take a separate photo between each one of the card.
Well,
No,
I
just
usually no.
Yeah.
You could take one picture of the card, but you would have to duplicate that photo and put it with, each of the group of photos of the particular photograph.
Oh, okay.
yeah. So
And
if this is the card that has the info on it, you take a picture first with
No, you could
the
take it.
photo and then one without, and then go on to the next one with, one without. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's what I do. She was asking another thing. So you could take a picture of just the measurements by itself and then duplicate that picture and then associate it with each one of the listings that you have, and it'll pick it up the same way.
there's no place in List Easier to put the like a template for the dimensions, right?
Well,
And do you use the flex or the
if there's an item specifics on prints, which will have the dimensions,
Oh, okay.
okay, and List Easier will automatically fill those in.
You can
Okay.
also put it in the description. eBay bulk edit has add to the beginning of description or add to the end of description. And you can kind of
Oh,
like
okay.
bulk add. Um, yeah, if it's all postcards, it can be 3 by 5 inches at the very
But
end of
remember,
all of
you
them.
don't have to use that if you're using List Easier and
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
the size on the card. All of that's done for you. Okay.
yeah.
All you
I'm
have to
curious.
do is make sure there wasn't any mistakes in the listing. Then
Do
the
you
list.
do you use the flex or the batches?
Well, I try to use batches as much as possible because Flex, as great as it is, it makes more mistakes.
Does it? Okay.
You're allowing the AI to decide what the item is, how big it is, who made it, all that kind of stuff, And one of the hardest things is if you have an oddball item that you're trying to list, it might not be able to tell that that money clip that you took a picture of is actually a knife. Okay.
Hmm.
You have to tell it that. So there's more work to flex than there is batch. And you just think of it this way. If there is an eBay category for the item that you have, even if you only do one, you can do a batch listing for just one. You just need to make up a template, a batch template for that.
I did. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then use that and you're fine. You don't have to do 100 at a time. You can do one or two if you want.
Oh, there's something else I was going to ask you. Now it just left my brain.
Happens to me all the time.
going back to what Donna said about not putting the person's name in or the photographer's name in, I'd like to sort of say two things. One, if the person's no longer living and clearly it's dated such that that would not be, you definitely want to have the family name in there because you sell things based on family. So there's no question that somebody, might, whether or not they are actually related or not, they are interested in the family name. And the second thing, particularly, with carte de visites and the other kinds of 19th century photography, you absolutely want to say who was the photographer and where, because people are going to be collecting. Just like with postcards, the more obscure the town, the faster it's going to sell for the higher price. The same is true about photography. Here is a guy who opened a shop to sell people's images in this small town, and people collect that.
Well, and don't forget about what the picture is of. If the guy's got a particularly
Oh,
interesting hat on, or he's got a gun or something like
Yeah.
that, you gotta mention that.
Well,
You
that's what I would focus on. And here's the reason why I had it in the past. First of all, doing it manually would take a lot of time. And I just didn't see it being worth it for a potentially $10 cabinet card because it's going to sell either way. But if I'm going to be listing this cabinet card at a higher price and using List Easier, then I can see doing batch listings because usually I'm not listing one cabinet card, I'm listing 30. And I just found it like to
How
be
about
too
I
much
throw
work.
you a totally different curve, Jana?
Hmm.
Your first run with your new listings should all be auctions. That way, people who have not you have not thought of, who have found that town, the person, the name that intrigues you, might have a competitor, might bid it up to and say what you would consider to be insane amounts.
Hmm.
After the auction's finished running, you can do it as a fixed price at the price you pick, but you lose nothing doing like a 7 day or 10 day auction.
Yeah.
But 10 day is what I like actually for
And
that
I
kind of
think
stuff.
doing auctions for ephemera is free, right? Versus, or is
Well,
it the other
a
way?
lot of your different eBay store fees include a good range of free listings. So
I think
uh,
books are not one of them though, right?
Sure they are.
the,
So maybe
They
I'm
are.
flipping it around. Maybe it's the ephemera auctions that charge $1, I believe.
Well,
well,
it depends. It could be if it's in a collectibles category, it'll be free.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look at that and report back to you.
But you have to have the pro subscription at $60 a month. You
Yeah, I do have that.
you get 10,000 listings plus 5,000 other free listings,
Mhm.
depending on category, auction type, etc. on there. That's a
Yeah,
lot of listings.
I do have that one, so I'm gonna have to check back. But you're right. If I'm gonna list this photo at $10, what's the harm in listing it at a $10 starting bid auction?
that's always been my point of view for this kind of thing. If I didn't have a firm sense of what the price was, why not let's see if the market, the market decides that I'm out of sync.
You know,
And then that's
you could start
self-education.
you could start that auction for that thing at 19.99 and put in best offer. And you will have somebody come in and make a best, if they're interested in it, make a
Mhm.
best offer that say $15. That's $5 more than what you were going to start it for.
Yeah, yeah. So much to do, so little time. AJ, you have your hand up.
Yes, I have a list easier question because I've tried to use it several times and I think I must be doing something wrong because when I take the pictures of all the books on my phone and then I bring them over to the computer and then list easier you have to select all the photos that you want to use and you can choose if you want to have like do you want to do batches of 3 or 6 or 8 or whatever. Well, when I load them into List Easier, they are in a completely different order than what I took them in. So then I'm spending like an hour going in there, like, okay,
Or they
trying to,
disappear.
That's,
yeah,
that's,
trying to resort all these photos I just took, and I quit. I just quit. I quit using List
that's
Easier.
correct. That's because you're using a phone for your pictures. The absolute most efficient and best way to take pictures and use them for List Easier is to take them with a camera. Okay. A DSLR is your best bet on that because you can adjust, you can do all your fixing of the pictures before you ever upload them, and you never, ever, ever have to worry about them being out of order. Okay. And then you can hand pick what pictures you want to go with what listing on there. And then once you've generated the listing, you can actually remove or sort the pictures however you want to before you list them live. Okay. But I know the biggest problem there is with List Easier is using a phone. Okay. A phone, for whatever reason, I haven't found anybody, excuse me, that uses a phone where the pictures go up in order.
Can
I
I
don't
just
quite
jump in real quick?
Mhm.
I think I figured that out. It was driving me nuts. And um, I realized that how I select the order I select the photos to go into List Easier is the order that they show up. So if I go to this one and then maybe the next one, like um, it's I figure it seemed to work better when I was really mindful on in my camera roll before I let it upload.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
And it was weird.
that's true.
It,
That's true. Now, the thing is, if you use Flex, which is harder to use, but if you use Flex, you can upload the pictures any way you want to because you can pick number one, number two, number three, number four, and they may not be all together or in order. You can pick the order you want to upload for the listing, okay, before it generates a listing. But if you use batch, you pick the first photo, and then the next photo you click on is the end. And you have to upload all of those photos. And if they're not in the right order, you're kind of screwed.
Right.
Mhm.
Or you
Asia,
have
have you?
to manually move them in List Easier.
That's crazy.
It's
Have
crazy
you
town.
tried putting them in Google Drive and then using Google Drive from your computer to do it?
That will actually work.
Yeah.
Will
Because I
actually
remember
work.
testing List Easier for a few listings on the free account, and it did it in order, and I did all the things from my computer. I bet it's a glitch. Maybe if enough people submit their
They are
photo.
working on it. They're working on that.
Yeah. I
Okay,
bet
but
people have.
there's only so much they can do because all the different phones out there. All the, iPhone isn't just one iPhone. There's iPhone 2 to iPhone 17.
Well, they also had some kind of update where it was taking, so if I took one picture, it was a JPEG or a PNG, but then it also created an identical movie file.
Oh
So
man.
you have to go into your settings on iPhone and turn off that whatever that
No.
setting is that creates this duplicate file because on your computer, so like when I plug my phone in and everything uploads, it can't distinguish between the two. It just looks like two of the same picture.
Is that the live list, the live photo option?
Yes,
Yes,
pretty
okay.
much. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
And then, but you can't distinguish between the two because it just looks like two identical images. So it's not until you move them over to List Easier where you try to put them and it doesn't upload. And then you're like,
Okay. Something else important that I thought I would tell you guys that I just learned in the last few days is eBay has made a change, and they made this change back on the 3rd because I was hearing a lot of people complaining that their sales dropped off after April 3rd. Well,
mhm.
what happened was in your condition description, that's the little, I mean, you got 500 characters in there, but that's the little description that is not in the description area. It's up top, top
Yeah.
right that shows up. If you put anything in there that does not have to do with the condition of the item, say like, see my other auctions, eBay throttles it automatically. They've made a change and your items will not show up. You've got to have that. You've got to take those out. Anything like that. If you say, I've gotten to where now when I go to list, I'm going to start doing just very good or good. I'm not going to put anything else in the condition description.
What if you say see photos for the exact description? Will that throw it
I,
out?
I don't know. I've been doing that, but I'm not sure that one word might trigger throttling of your listening. So it scares me. It scares me enough to where condition description, I am simply going to use the basic condition words like good or acceptable, good, very good, meant, whatever on there. And that's all I'm going to put in there because otherwise, and this is from List Easier. I was talking to Josh the other day, um, one of the founders of it, and he was saying that List Easier will reject, keep you from listing some listings when they have words that don't have anything to do with the condition. You can get around that by just going to eBay and listing it that way. The problem is um, you still have the problem of eBay throttling you. Now remember, List Easier, it does two things, two very important things. It optimizes for Google, number one. Then it optimizes for eBay. Okay. On my sales the last 4 or 5 months, it's gone from 5 or 6% people off site or coming in from Google buying stuff to almost 50% of
Wow.
of people. I'm getting people from Google, and most of these people are people that have been on eBay in the past, but they got sick and tired of eBay, so they left. I mean, these people have 2,000 feedback, but if you look, they've only got two feedback in the last year, which means they left and they're no longer on eBay. But if they find your item through Google and then they follow it to your listing on eBay, there's a good chance they'll buy it. Okay. Now, what List Easier does is say you have a book or whatever it is, it will analyze within milliseconds, it will analyze 50 or 100 of the closest items to what you have, and it will pick the words, the order, and all that kind of stuff of say it uses 100 samples, and if 60 of those samples have the date first, then it's going to put the date first in your listing. Okay. If 50 of those listings have the title first, then it'll put the title second on there. So it optimizes for the best response that people are looking for to sell that book. That's what I like about it so much. Okay. Is it just, I mean, I'm wordy to begin with. I mean, I talk a lot and stuff, but List Easier makes me seem like a mime. I mean, it just goes and goes and goes. Energizer Bunny kind of listings, and they sell. The stuff sells. So, I mean, I know there's other AIs coming on the market, like Claude, that you have to work with yourself. You have to kind of design it yourself. And eBay has its own AI. You can do an eBay description. You click that button below the description that says use AI description. The problem with that is it's only optimized for eBay. That's it. And List Easier is optimized for not just Google, but several other search engines. Okay. So if you look at what's really nice is 99% of the people out there aren't using AI at all. So if I list a book where there's 50 others on eBay and I do it through List Easier and you find it on Google, mine's going to be first or second. Even with the 50 other books on there. Okay, mine's going to come up first or second. That's the advantage of List Easier. Just saying, you know. And there's a huge learning curve. So for all you guys like Michelle who are using List Easier, take the time, the couple hours to go to List Easier University on YouTube and watch all of the 2, 3, 4 minute videos. I mean, there's a couple of them that are like 9 minutes, but those are for flex. And watch them all and understand them. Okay. And then if you have questions, you can always send a question to the guys at List Easier and they'll answer back within 24 hours.
So they have a good support team.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah,
and
it seems like it's taken a
you can
hold of
even,
the paper gold group.
yeah, you can even call them on the phone.
Mhm.
They don't advertise that, but if you call them on the phone, they'll answer, during business hours. So,
Right.
you know,
That's nice. Yeah, it's a great resource. I'm not using it, but I'm I'm getting convinced, especially with ephemera.
you don't have to use it, but the biggest problem with using it is you got to have space to store stuff because once you start using it, you're going to list thousands of things.
Mhm.
Got to find a place to store all that stuff.
Well, the bottleneck for me is the pricing. So I'd have to price them first. And source. I'd have to
Okay,
source them first.
okay, on List Easier, when it generates the listing and under the price section where it's priced at, right above that little window, it says see um see sold, see current sold.
Mhm.
And it'll go back for the last 90 days and it'll look for solds for that item or similar items. Now, sometimes you might have to change the title around because
Mhm.
you don't necessarily want to use the all 80 characters or 70 characters that List Easier will put in there. You'd cut it down to just the actual title and the author, say, for a book. Okay. And it'll come out, and then you'll see the items and you'll be able to find the price on it. But you can do that the same way with photographs.
Mhm.
Okay. So, I mean, it has options to do your own research right there before you price it. All you gotta do is click a button and then do some searching on it.
Yeah.
You ever
So
notice that? I mean, did you see that when you were looking at it,
like,
Anna? Okay. Yeah, how about you, Michelle? Did you know that was there?
Yeah, I saw it. At first, I was trying to list the print ads, and it was going into the art category, and it was coming up with these astounding prices, and so it was all wrong. But then I'm sure I haven't looked at it since I knew to. Well, I switched it to print ads unspecified date, but like you were mentioning, to list it maybe in jewelry or whatever the category is. Will that still pull up? It'll be based on the image. What
Well,
the price?
chances are that the particular ad that you have, nobody else has got in that category. So,
Right.
like I have catalog ads that I've torn out of catalogs for jewelry, watches, and stuff like that, and I will put those ads in the particular category for jewelry or for watches or something like that. And since nobody else has that, then yours is the only one up there. There's a good chance that somebody looking for Waltham watches are going to buy a nice 19th century Waltham watch print ad. Okay.
Good point. Okay, yeah.
With music, I have the same thing. I've got a bunch of music print ads up, and these are all opera singers. Okay. They're booking agent ads. I have a bunch of musical Americas from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And they're single page ads, and I put them under the music section. Okay. And there's almost always a paper section under the different categories, like music or something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you just have to look for that. And I don't necessarily rely on List Easier to find the correct category. I'll go look up and find what the category is first, then I'll make sure it's on List Easier.
Okay. It seems like on List Easier, it's really hard to find the categories. It's like rejecting everything I type in.
Okay. You have to close out and start over again. Now save your work, but then close out and open it up again and go to that and open that particular batch again okay, and start over again. If you haven't put anything in there yet, um, sometimes it's hard because List Easier uses these arrows, like music CDs, music arrow CDs, and
Right. Yeah.
eBay uses the greater than sign. Well, so it's really hard to do that, so you got to figure out, well, either you do it by music and then you go through the scroll down through all the music options, or you put in, like for me, you put in CDs and you scroll down until you find music CDs and
Is
click
there
on
like a master map of the thing?
there. There is, but it's really, really hard to find. I forgot where it was.
Okay.
There are a little over 18,000
Oh,
categories for List Easier. And they don't even have the auto section, there yet. I
wow.
mean, what is that? eBay Auto, eBay Motors. None of that is supported by List Easier right now. They're working on it. Okay. But that's another 8,000 listing or 8,000 categories.
Because like I'll type in print ad and it says there's nothing to support that. So I had to go to collectibles, arrow, paper, arrow, print ad or something like that.
Well, and a lot of that they'll have that will be in your item specifics. Your main
Okay.
category will be collectibles, paper items, say for example, and then um in your item specifics, List Easier will put in music if it's a music
I
ad, or jewelry if it's a jewelry ad.
Uh-huh.
So,
sorry. Yeah.
so that's how you could do that. Okay.
Okay.
Just don't
Okay.
make it harder than what it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Wow. That was a really good deep dive on List Easier. It seems like it can really effectively be used for ephemera and not just books. I wanted to quickly show you guys something that I found inside of a book. This is the best part, is when it coincides like this. But let's see how we can share. I already have it listed. So, can everyone see? All right, this is what I found inside of a book. I have it listed already on, oops. I already have it listed on eBay. So it's a University of California Department of Philosophy. It looks like a syllabus or itinerary. And I've never sold anything like this. So yeah, I didn't really know what to do, but I tested it out. I guessed from the handwriting and the pen that was used, I guessed 1920s, but I don't actually know. So what would you guys have titled this on eBay?
Can you put a link to what you title it on eBay for so we can look at it?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm just showing you guys the pictures now, and I was gonna ask you what you would title it, and then I'm gonna show you what I titled it.
Maybe antique syllabus and then the college name.
Well, do you know if I think it's Helen Johnston. Is she a teacher? Is that the person who was the student or what?
Probably the student, but I didn't put the name. I didn't put the name in it. It's one of those fast listings, but I'm definitely gonna start doing that more and test out List Easier with that.
Well, obviously, I think you need University of California
Mhm.
in there, and
Philosophy,
then philosophy, uh,
vintage.
introduction to philosophy, student syllabus or something like that on
Yeah,
there.
that's pretty much what I put, and I can show you guys right now. I only have it listed for $20 or $19.99 so that I can do eBay standard letter. Let's see if I have any hits on it or any interest. I don't seem to have any saves on it, any likes. But yeah, this is one of those experimental things. I don't know there's no comps, there's no syllabuses that have sold or itineraries. And I don't know the university. It just says University of California. I bet if I had the university, it might have made it an easier sell.
What
But
category? What category did you put it in?
let's see.
And how did you come up with the pricing after that? For shipping, I mean.
I see. Hold on. The category is in collectibles and arts. Interesting. Teaching historical memorabilia, teaching and education, colleges and university. I don't know how this is. Is this one category? Hold on. Let's see.
I'm driving at a red light right now. Definitely Google the name, because one of the best things that has sold university related ephemera for me has been saying, this is from the distinguished professor XYZ, and this is a little bit of his CV, and this is where else he taught, and this is why he was president of this organization. So if possibly this is a syllabus from a professor who did well, talking up the professor will sell the syllabus and sell it for a lot more than it's just another piece of paperwork from a college.
This is something I might ask ChatGPT to help me figure out.
Research let it
Because
go
it's
down
one
the
of those
road
things.
rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I personally don't find it worth my time to dive into this one specific thing. I don't think it's going to be particularly valuable. I just think it's an interesting piece of history that someone might want to collect. That's why I didn't price it too high. I'm open to offers, but yeah, I just for the fun of it, I would look up the name. It's like Helen Johnston.
And
Let's
for the shipping, sorry to butt in. I just wondered, you send that in the standard like postcard type eBay envelope?
Yeah,
Is that
so
what that is?
I'm charging 132 for eBay standard envelope. Do you know about that?
Yeah, but what does it actually cost you? Like 70 something cents to ship?
I think so. Yeah, I think I have
Okay,
a
okay.
little buffer.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, on all my shipping profiles, I have $75, 75 cents extra just for little errors,
Okay.
compensations here and there.
So I'm just curious if anyone else would have even paused on that paper. I would never have even considered it.
I would have listed it.
What was that?
Yes, I would. I actually have very similar items to that, where it's class syllabuses. I had two collections that I got from a professor, kind of like you did, and inside of the books were syllabuses, reading class lists, all different types of things, and I've listed all of them.
Did they
And they're
sell?
selling?
Yes, those ones sold. Yes, but I did have a question, Mike. I wanted to ask you, in that collection that I picked up from the professor, was his original thesis?
Wow.
He actually did go on to become quite a well-known professor. He ended up being like the dean of cultural sciences, like of African American history, and wrote a lot of books. Would you list that? I mean, would you list the thesis because it's hardbound? He had it bound like a book. I thought I had it right here. Oh, I do have it.
Yes.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, I don't. Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
I would
that's pretty.
absolutely, positively list the thesis. And again, in the description, who he is, why he's important. I mean, it's a slightly different range of material, but I have sold theses by Nobel laureates. Some of them signed and inscribed to colleagues early on. But it's just yes, that's just hot button. Theses are a dime a dozen, unless either hyper specialized and there's not a person who's ever written on the damn subject. But otherwise, it's just stuff. I have real difficulty with mediocre theses, but a distinguished professor, go for it.
I think the
Okay,
more
I
out
got to get
there, the
off and
better.
get out of the.
Okay.
Mike, it's been so
Bye,
nice
thanks,
to hear
Mike.
your voice.
I'm
Yeah,
just lucky that my throat's been holding out for this conversation. I always enjoy talking to you all.
we're grateful.
Yes.
Thanks, Mike.
Cool.
I'm
Well,
curious if anyone knows much about how does antique sheet music do and music in like a book of antique music. Has anyone had experience with that?
I have
I have.
in that figure. There's probably not much you could ask that I haven't had experience with. Sheet music does fair to midline. Antique books of sheet music depends on if the sheet music is illustrated. If it has illustrated covers, then I tear them apart, sell them individually. If it's just an antique a book of sheet music, like I have one right now, I don't know where it is. It's on opera, but it's probably 1850s. Might sell for $100, you know.
Interesting.
So because of the age and famous
1850s.
operas, sheet music though it depends on the artist and the singer or the musician and the rarity of it.
I
Okay.
have not had much luck with
I've
sheet
got I've
music.
got books on sheet music here. I mean, books about how to tell on sheet music.
Interesting.
And is it
And
just the covers, did you say?
I'm sorry, what?
Was it just the covers of the sheet music and not the whole book or the whole
Oh
pamphlet?
no, it's the whole book. The whole
Oh,
book.
okay, okay.
If it had illustrations on it, I've got some that I've tore apart several books that had beautiful lithographs in there. Some of them are even color. And it has the whole sheet music in there. It's just been bound into a book.
Hmm.
That's not how it was originally done. Somebody had it bound, so I just take it apart and sell the 1850s sheet music for $50 or more depending
Yeah,
on the illustration.
1850s is a unusual one for sheet music. I haven't seen any sheet music that old that survived. Sheet music in particular is kind of tattered.
Yeah.
It's usually really thin, really large, and flipped through a lot.
Well,
Torn up.
you got to remember, prior to about 1865, your sheet music was the material that was printed on was cloth based. Okay, so it lasts a lot longer than the paper based um, paper that music was printed on.
Mhm.
Plus, in 1850s, it was a pretty common thing to bind your collection of sheet music, put it in a book.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's how I get them how they survive.
So Karuna is asking if you frame or sell the sheets as they are. I actually I framed some and I'll show you right now. It's on my wall. Oh my gosh, it's doing the whole thing. Hold on, I'm gonna turn that off. But I do these craft sales, right? Or craft fairs. Here, I can show you now. This is one that I have framed just for my own personal collection. It's such a beautiful photograph. It's
Nice.
called Easy Rider. I wonder where my Easy Rider's gone, and it's Mae West, and that's for my own personal, but I have sold them in frames, in cheap frames that I bought off of Amazon, and I sell them at craft fairs at like $30 a pop. And when it's art, it it hits such a wider market versus a tiny collectible market.
Yeah, and that's the difference. If it's not framed, it's just a piece of sheet music. If you
Yeah.
frame it, it all of a sudden becomes art.
Mm-hmm. That's the funny thing. I play around with that often, and I've pretty much sold almost all of them. I think I have one left out of maybe 13 that I tested out. But I haven't had much luck with sheet music. I'll have a big stack of early 1900s sheet music and I'll comp every single one and they're just too low value for me to sell individually, $5 to $10 and I don't do anything under 20, 25. but I feel like as a lot, it might work.
Have you
Someone
done the lot? Have you sold a lot of music as together as a
um,
lot?
That's
I don't think
that's risky.
I have.
You know, if you use List Easy, I don't want to be beating the bush on this, but if you use something like List Easier, you can sell $5 or $10 items and it'd be profitable because you can do 100 of them in 3 hours.
Oh,
It's the packing for me. This is just how I run my business. But of course, everyone's free to do their own thing. But with my kind of parameters, I haven't found many pieces of sheet music. Only, like Dave said, opera books. So maybe like a 1930s. I remember, is it Madame Butterfly or something like that? An opera book. I've sold stuff like that, but not the really thin ones.
Well, a couple of things about sheet music that, in my experience, I mean, first of all, I come from an area that does have older things. So in the early 19th century, well into the near the end, people would bind their favorite sheet music. So you'll get these albums that are nothing but this person's selection of what it is they liked and they played. The individual pieces are rarely of value except for the prints. That is, you know, if they have a really great graphic, an illustration, if there's something ethnic on it, you know, there's a bunch of hot buttons. So, you know, you'll go, no, 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 wow. No, 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 wow. So the wow ones you can take the time to list. The not so wow ones. Now again, when you get to the 20th century, it's much more common. Condition is everything. And again, you're looking for something unusual. So, I mean, I'll go through piles of sheet music occasionally that, you know, I would think they with their hot buttons and they're not. Um, and I think lotting them out is actually probably the best way to get rid of some of it. Like here's a here's a pile of World War I patriotic sheet music.
mhm.
You know, that kind of stuff.
Oh
You're
yeah.
gonna have the
Totally.
ones, the occasional ones where it's the right artist, and you can sell it on who that is. It'll have the graphic that's special, but it's a tough again. It's a tough, and like all the other pieces of ephemera, it's a tough specialized thing, and the collectors are specialized, and you have to learn what they want.
There's so
Mhm.
much of it out there.
Yeah.
Matt, do you have your hand up?
Yeah. Unless anyone else wants to add on to that, I don't want to break the song music chain.
No, that's all good.
Yeah. Um,
It's an open
I've
forum.
had I kind of agree with what everybody said. You know, I've had some sheet music, and it's like fair to Midland, and maybe there was some like ragtime, like jazz, like a hot button one that did sell pretty well because it had some cool early jazz graphics and stuff on it.
Mhm.
Um, but that's all. But I just wanted to share kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I've just done my last three whatnot shows were like 4 hour whatnot shows from the map
Oh yeah.
barn. It's the second floor of a used bookstore that's going out of business. So I'm just helping consign. You know, I'm consigning their ephemera room and their map room. So you know, Dave and Mike might cringe at some of the prices I'm getting, but anyone else, you know, I'm doing the reseller. I mean, I'm doing the reseller lot sort of. I'm hooking people up, but my favorite are these. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this. This is
Turn
on my
spotlight
phone,
it.
but
Hold on.
can you guys see?
Yeah.
Um,
Animal
I have a bunch
horses.
of these. I sold them already, but they're the bird's eye views. They're called, you know, they're like pages out of an old atlas from like the 1860s. So they're a full atlas size page,
Whoa.
and it's this one is a town in Iowa. So it's the, I mean, it even has like the breed and the name of the horses, like the cows on the family's farm. So it has like
Wow.
has all the industry that's in that town. And I found Iowa, I found Illinois, and I found Minnesota so far.
So they're
And I
from
have a ton of black.
they're from a county atlas.
It's a county atlas. Is that what they are? Yeah, they're really neat. I mean, I was getting like $40 a page, $45 on the colored ones.
My
Wow.
friend was telling me about the ones that he bid on.
Oh,
I sent
yeah.
someone
Okay.
over that collects maps, and he was very giddy
I was
about
gonna
those
ask.
ones.
Yeah, was it live? Is it? I could say his name. Can I say his name? I don't know if is there a privacy?
Steven, the
We
secret
don't
bookstore.
operate by
Steven,
HIPAA.
secret.
HIPAA
Yeah,
is not in
right.
play here.
He's the
I
secret
overthink. I
bookstore.
overthink things. Yeah. Oh, it's the secret. The secret. Yeah,
Bookstore.
Steven.
Matt, those are from a book?
They're from. These came from
Oh, an atlas, right?
a
Okay.
whole. Yeah, like Dave said. I guess they're a county atlas. I don't. I didn't see where they came from. They were just in a drawer of views. He just had them labeled as views.
Oh,
Most
interesting.
of them are black and white. I'm selling the black and white ones for like $3-4, which I think is good. I mean, I'm just giving people if it's paper golders, I'm just packing. I'm packing the box with more.
So
But
Matt,
yeah.
how did you get all these map geeks to come to your store? Like how is it not?
I think it's just the well, Jana sent that one, like Steven came in and he bought a lot. But there's been people that have been in the 4-hour shows from start to finish, and are just buying from start
But
to finish.
how did they find you? Did you go out
I just
on social media or anything like that?
I sell on Whatnot. Are you familiar with the Whatnot, the platform,
Yeah.
the live auction?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I didn't advertise anywhere except on Whatnot.
So
And
you
I
went.
just have the book.
Are there other map shows going on? So you
Yeah,
went.
I've seen some.
Oh,
Yeah, I searched for some map shows and I didn't see any active ones going on, but in the ephemera, I'm sure in the ephemera category
yeah.
there are.
Map is a
I
huge collector market.
Yeah, I mean I
They
should be
get
advertising.
crazy.
I just hired Max's VA from the Philippines, so I'm hoping to advertise my shows more. Like I should be advertising this on all the ephemera shows to all the ephemera sellers.
I think people have
But
software
whatever.
for inviting now.
Yeah, but I'm getting the people in that I'm happy with the prices I'm getting, and I think people are getting deals like kind of intermixed in there. I mean, I like I said, the other things were here, I'll show you some other stuff.
And what's your arrangement with the store owner?
It's 50-50. So I'm just selling I sell it and ship it. There's all these the Johnson Atlas, the steel plate, the physical geography from 1865. I found half of one, so I just gently started taking it was like mystery map. I'd pull a page out, I'd open it up and I was selling those for about $30-40 a map also, because it's whoever's in the show. If I opened up, Iowa, and there were 3 people from Iowa, Texas, New Mexico, it was just state by. Then the world maps. These are a little bit older. These are 1840, I think. This is a Colton. I think it's a Colton Atlas. You could kind of see the depression. I don't know if you can see it in the picture, but it's on you could see the depression from like the engraving plate, right? But the colors are, I mean, look at that border. It's just like,
what percentage of what you're selling is taken out of a book?
I only took apart that half atlas that I found, but I think that a lot of the folders around the place, they were already taken out of all other atlases. There's nothing older than like the 1830s is the oldest. I did have some pieces of, I don't know if they came from an atlas. Yeah. I don't know where everything's coming from, to be honest.
Congratulations.
Don't ask.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I'm selling stuff for. Then there were some animal prints like this. I mean, there's enough collectors in there that it's the things are going for. Some things go for market value, which is fine for me. Some people are getting deals along the way, which is fine for me. And it's 50-50. I'm learning kind of. I wish I'm kind of moving fast. I don't know half the stuff I'm selling. I'm not, I know a
Well,
little bit about.
people love it when they can tell the person doesn't know what they're
Yeah.
doesn't know much about it. They love that.
I'm drawn from the crowd. Then there was something like this. I don't know if they're. I want to check out the book that Mike was talking about. I missed the title of it. I came in right when Mike was saying it, but I'm watching videos right now on copper engraving, wax engraving. I'm trying to educate myself on I didn't know lithograph. I know that came from a stone. I learned that today, that lithograph is a
See,
stone based
that's the thing. That's the thing you can't do
process
on eBay is you have to know what you're talking
So,
about. On
You
Whatnot,
posted
Say it
the
again?
link in the chat for the book.
yeah, on Whatnot, sometimes it's more of an advantage if you don't know what you're doing. It sells better
Yeah.
sometimes, it seems like.
But
Yeah,
you're right. You're right. Because on eBay, you want to put it correctly, or they might, be angry that they're not receiving what they thought they
But
were.
the views were awesome. So keep if you guys ever see a stack of those the color, I don't know if they were hand colored. Do you guys know that? Are some of those engravings hand colored?
Usually those are
And
lithographs.
those are lithographs. Okay.
Yeah, they look
How
like
can you tell a
lithographs.
hand?
You,
I'm not 100% sure, but just the way they look colored, I tell you one
Okay.
clue on that is if the coloration is staying within the lines, okay, that's too perfect.
Yeah.
And colored
Yeah.
stuff never stays within the lines.
well,
Yeah.
that's a yes and a no. The better ones do. But first of all, get a 10 power loop. It's not
A
only
10
useful
power. Okay.
for looking at the coloration, but also when you get into fine prints, you're going to want to see whether or not there's burr in the print, which tell you how early it is. You'll also then be able to look at some of those signatures at the bottom of the portrait of the author and say, is this printed or is this hand
Right.
a signed copy by the guy? So a
Yeah.
10 times loop is a basic tool.
Is that a
Yeah.
telescope thing that you put
No,
wires around your head like a
oh God,
clockmaker?
no! It's just and for
No, it's for jewelers.
jewelry people have them
Yeah.
all the time on their
Oh,
finger. It's an
Tubular
easy,
loop,
it's a
right?
small little
Yeah.
round thing. But that will give you the detail. Less than that level of magnification, you're not going to see the differences you need to see.
Not,
But
not,
basically, if it's colored and it's before 1850, 1860, in many cases, it'll be hand colored because they weren't really great at color printing. But that
Yeah.
doesn't
No,
that but
that's
that
neat.
changes over time, and that's not a golden rule.
Yeah.
And of course, what I'm actually in love with is near the 1880s, 1890s, when the Germans were doing chromolithography, that'll just knock your socks off. And that actually dominated plates even for the American market until World War One killed the German print
Yeah.
industry because we couldn't ship it across the ocean anymore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah,
an
no, so
expensive process too.
yeah, but also with the hand colored, uh, they got them very young with very good eyesight, and you get some very fine work where it's
Yeah.
only the trainees that went over the line for some of the better stuff. If you ever run into an English illustrated plate book, there's hand colored plates in it, you'll see the difference.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
again, you may only have two or three that are hand colored in a book with 30, and
Yeah.
but
So
it, it,
are you able to tell with the loop the difference between hand colored and something that's printed either
yes,
chromo.
the more you examine them, the more you'll see the difference. Plus, also in many
Yeah.
cases, bibliographic references will tell you if they're might be.
Hand colored.
Floral
Right.
gift books from the 1840s. I should turn around and go grab a couple, but they have these absolutely gorgeous flower prints as part of what they put together in their gift books, which is mostly just mediocre poetry. But
Yeah.
but
Nice.
all those little flowers are hand colored and they are jaw dropping. So again, the
Yeah.
more you'll handle it, the more it'll be easy for you.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun up there. I mean, I'm going to be there for probably the next 2 months, maybe. I mean, they have cloth. He has cloth maps rolled up in the back. Like I haven't even opened them up yet. Like full, 12 foot long on the on a curtain rod, like
We
Send
rolled
should
up.
do a
me
random map show.
send me a private message with your email.
Okay.
And I'll send you links to the absolute reference books for American printed maps.
Excellent. Okay. Appreciate it.
And locally, because the more local it is, the more unusual it is, the more it is from a time period where the
Yeah.
boundary was
Yeah.
here, but then it got moved.
Yeah.
That's where your
80% of it's
value can be.
Yeah, 80% of it's Connecticut because I'm in Connecticut, but I'm staying away
There's
from the Connecticut ones on whatnot because I'm trying to
Any
get more
pocket,
regional.
any pocket maps?
Haven't found haven't seen any pocket maps yet. No, those good to
you'll
look
fall
for.
in love when you do, especially the
The
pocket
pocket maps.
railroad
Yeah,
maps
maybe
that are
he
early.
might. He could have a little. Yeah, maybe he has a box of them somewhere.
He
Up
will.
here. Who knows?
Um,
Yeah. Thank you guys.
cool. Yeah. Well, guys, this has been a really good talk. I'm gonna start wrapping it up. Um, yeah, if you have any extra questions, post it in the ephemera chat. We would,
Can I say something just real quick?
yeah.
Like part of what we do is so alone, right? And I've had this kind of exacerbating experience with List Easier. And I don't know if anyone else relates to this. But I've somehow listed 20 listings and I somehow sold my first book. So
Oh, good
I'm
job.
pretty proud of myself, right? Like, so thank you very much. So then I'd figured it out. I watched the whole university thing and I watched this clothing reseller who made it look just super easy that Michelle H. Cave Creek sent to me. And then I made the mistake of maybe 5 days later getting back on and thinking I knew how to do it. And I was like, ah. So it's that thing of wasting credits, right? Like, oh, like the very first thing I did took up 8 credits because it did the pictures wrong. And so when Dave said, make sure to watch the university videos, it's really wise to do that. And if any of you have yet to use it, what I recommend is to do the training, do the listings, figure it out, and get back to it the very next day and the very next day. Don't give too much of a gap because it's not as intuitive to me, at least, as
It's not.
I would want it to be. And I know soon it'll be easy peasy. And I'm grateful that that's the only way I considered that I would ever do eBay is I'm just doing List Easier. I cannot, time's precious. So thank you, Dave. And I don't know if anyone relates to this, you're sitting in your house and you realize you've like, oh, I did it again, right? Anyways, I don't know why, but it's almost like a confession. Like I have wasted credits. But that's the learning curve.
Yeah.
And it was $14 for 100. And I think I have 43 credits left or something silly like that. And it's like, it's a $15 lesson, right? And after that, I will never waste a listing again.
You
So
invested in your credits as a learning experience. Rephrase it, be empowered by it, and keep going.
Yeah. Great advice, Mike. That's great. Well,
anyways,
your List Easier will be getting more optimized as time goes by, which I'm holding out for that. But thank you everyone for joining and for everyone with your questions and your comments and advice and all the things you showed us. Yeah, please come with your questions. This is great. We just spent an hour and 45 minutes. I didn't do any of the games that I usually do. We just talk, and that's so great. So thank you,
I'm
everyone.
I'm sorry, but I hope a lot more people don't come here because it's gonna get so crowded. We're not gonna,
We don't want them all hearing what Matt's up to, right? Like,
That's right.
Matt, you're so inspiring. You're just like, hey, I found this source. We're going 50-50. Don't quite know what I'm doing, but I'm learning as I go. It's so inspiring. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
So
Well,
great.
all right, guys.
Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone. See you Thursday, maybe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.